Are you one of the 75% of contractors whose financial statements are inaccurate? Find out. Click on the link in the show notes and you'll get a free P&L and balance sheet check.
This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Get the business tool that makes your financial statements come alive and turn data into impactful graphs that help you see on with your business. Go to www.financiallyfit.business and get started today. Thank you for joining us. Here is how we will help your business. You're going to think I'm crazy when I ask you this question. What are your marketing plans for 2026? Yes, I know it's November. However, there's almost nothing you can do about this year's plans. So start 2026 off on the right foot. Start planning now. My guest today, Crystal Williams, is founder and CEO of Lemon Seed Marketing. Crystal helps home service companies grow by designing campaigns where every piece amplifies the others, a philosophy she calls 2 + 2 = 5. She'll give you the steps to use this philosophy to have a productive and profitable marketing in 2026. Crystal, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We've known each other forever.
Yes.
It's like, all right, you need to get on here at some point in
Thank
time.
you so much. No, it's a pleasure. And I have a passion for contractors from my dad, my brother, my grandpa, so I love it.
Yeah, I mean, your whole family's in contracting.
Yes. So we own a heating and air conditioning and plumbing company in rural East Texas. My grandfather started it, my dad took it over, now my brother, and then I worked there for several years. And now my sister and I and my brother own a pest control company, and my husband and I are part owners of a roofing company. So we're all in the trades.
Yep, absolutely. And so where does all the marketing fit into this? How do you have time to do marketing?
Well, so I run a company, Lemon Seed Marketing. That's what I do. Myself and my business partner, Emily Flanagan. We run Lemon Seed Marketing, which is a strategy based company that we help contractors know what the heck to do with marketing and how to get their brand under control. We help them make sure they have the right vendor partners and that they're spending the right amount of money and not over or under spending to reach their goals.
Cool. So, when we originally talked about this, I said, it's November, but it's really time to start thinking about what you want to do in 2026.
Absolutely.
So what would be the first, 2 + 2 = 5. I hope it equals 6 or 7 or 8 by the time we get done today.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So the 2 + 2 = 5, that has been my mantra for this year, and going into 2026. Now this time of the year is the time, and honestly, like you're right on the cusp of almost being too late to be thinking about 2026, but you still have time to strategically make a plan of how you're going to invest the amount of money that you possibly can, that you can afford to do based off cash flow and things like that, but that you can do to grow your business. And it needs to grow and expand upon each other, right? Exponentially grow. So it's much stronger together than each marketing tactic individually, right? So when we have a strong brand and then we add digital marketing and we add social media, each thing is exponentially going to perform better for you when you can stack things together. And that's where that 2 + 2 = 5. And to your point, hopefully 6, 7, and 8, and just keep going from there as you get your hands on more budget to be able to layer on more and more marketing tactics. I wish marketing was super easy, right, Ruth? Like, man, if you just give me 8% of what your revenue goal is, you're going to grow. And it's really not. It's a piece of the puzzle, definitely not the whole puzzle.
Well, think about it, the way I look at it is like, it's not only it's your branding, it's where your trucks are, and it's funny because those contractors I know of who have the non-white trucks, and you know who they are. Well, maybe you don't know all the ones that I know, but anyway, everybody sees their trucks all the time because they're so different, and they say, "I see your trucks everywhere." And their trucks aren't everywhere, but they just happen to notice them. So I think that's where we want to go with marketing. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You know, when you are this is why it's terrible to ask a person when they call the business, like, "How'd you hear about us?" Because they are gonna tell you, what sticks in their brain, not where they actually called you from. And I know that sounds weird, but, if I'm constantly seeing your trucks around my neighborhood, or I'm always seeing your billboards or hearing your radio jingle. And then I get your postcard in the mail and I call from your postcard, but then I tell your CSR, oh, yeah, I love your radio jingle. The CSR is going to be like, that jingle worked, but really they called from the postcard. So technically, what worked for you was the entire customer experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where that's why wrapped vans matter. That's why yard signs matter. That's why your website matters and social media matters. It can feel very overwhelming, but really you eat an elephant and a cookie the same way, one bite at a time. So marketing is just a layering approach as your budget increases and honestly your capacity inside your business as it increases. And if you have operational excellence, right, you're hitting your goals for good average tickets. You're able to flip over to sales from good quality leads. You're building your maintenance program for the slow season. When you're doing all of those things and you're spending appropriately in marketing with good offers and you're answering the phone well, that's why it's a partnership, right? That's why marketing alone can't build your business. It really takes your operational excellence and our marketing to really grow your business all the way around.
And I thought it was really interesting you mentioned postcards, which is probably the most traditional form of marketing that everybody totally ignores right now because of the social media and the LSA ads and all that sort of fun stuff with Google. And everybody forgets that postcards, our mailboxes are pretty much empty these days.
Yeah, and I think direct mail is making a resurgence. I'm going to tell you this too. Here's what happened, I think. So, you know, 90s, everybody's like, this cool new thing called digital marketing comes out. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, everybody's going digital. And guess what? We did, right? We went digital. We went hard. Everybody was so fancy with all their new technology. And what's happened now is people have gotten so overwhelmed, I think, with digital noise in their lives, the average consumer. Like there's so much noise for them that now back to those traditional and authentic and unique ways of advertising are just surging back to the top. So that's why I think you see direct mail, like old school 6x9 postcard offering some type of incentive call to action on a consistent basis is back to performing better than it ever has. And now you can link them. You literally can drop postcards that people that visited your website, they now can get a postcard. So like now there's ways to link the direct mail to your digital side, you know? But I think that the world is looking for authenticity in marketing. And so like really building a brand and talking to the consumer like you would naturally talk. I'm from East Texas, right? So we don't say water heater, we say hot water heater. Now, why we need to heat already hot water, I don't know. But that's all that we talk, right? That's what we say. And I mean, we're very authentic. Even in McWilliams, my family's company, we still have an authentic branding style. Very traditional. We have not just gone off the guardrails where we dumped everything traditional and went strictly digital. Right now, the authentic pieces where consumers get to see you for who you are as a company. Some of y'all are rolling your eyes right now, and that's okay. But when they can really see you like interjecting yourself in your community and sponsoring 5K races and football teams, and when you're on social media giving tips and doing fun things, and when you're celebrating your team in newsletters and awards, and all of those things are just so authentic. And the market is missing it right now, right? Because everything's super digital and AI. So I think it's pretty ironic. I think we're going to see a resurgence of just branding in 2026.
Cool. All right. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Absolutely. The easiest way is hello@lemonseedmarketing.com. Or you can visit our website at lemonseedmarketing.com and fill out my little contact form. I go ahead and ask just a couple of questions, Ruth, about the contractor, because I'll be honest, when we get on a call, I would love to already know a little bit about you. And honestly, I call it an interview for each other. We just sit down and kind of talk about what your goals are and what you need, and I'll tell you if Lemon Seed can help or not. And you get lots of options with us, but that's the best way to reach out. And if you just like our content, I do that on my own podcast from the Yellow Chair. And we're really active on all social media channels, and I give lots of free content there as well.
Sounds good. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sounds.
Imagine you had total freedom. You didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to be a slave to your business. The words I can't are eliminated from your vocabulary. What if you could do what you want to do whenever you want to do it? A financially fit business could give you that freedom. How? By knowing what your financial statements are telling you and taking action based on what they say. You can do this in less than 10 minutes a month at an investment of less than taking your family out to dinner once a month. And if your financial statements are a mess, you can get help. Go to www.financiallyfit.business or click on the QR code below to get started today.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm speaking with Crystal Williams, who is the founder and CEO of Lemon Seed Marketing. And before the break, we were talking about the fact that you have to be authentic, real, inundated with what's in their inboxes and social media and all that sort of fun stuff. It's time to get back to real and maybe some traditional marketing. So in this segment of the podcast, Crystal and I are going to talk about some things that you can do for 2026. So Crystal, take it away.
Yeah. So listen, instead of just looking at this like, well, this is what I spent last year, right? I did this last year, it kind of worked. Let me do this. I want to encourage you guys to be intentional and really tie your budget to your revenue goals. Right. So, normally Lemon Seed's going to give a benchmark of we would love to see you invest 6 to 10% of your annual revenue if you're just looking for some good, consistent growth. And if you are aggressive, which my brother and I are aggressive, my pest control company that my sister runs, we're aggressive. So we're more like at 15% marketing, but we are in growth mode. We are hitting the gas, not the brake. But I encourage you to say, what is your revenue goal for next year? Get somewhere at the minimum in that 5 to 6% range. Set that budget aside for marketing, distribute it across lead gen. So lead generation, things like paid ads and things like that. And then you have branding and customer retention. That's the 3-bucket framework that Lemon Seed helps you use to build out the right budget. And set that aside and commit. You can always pivot as the year goes on and your numbers adjust up or down, but set that aside and make a strategy for that. It is really important. So that's my biggest goal that when I talk to contractors is helping them tie their budget to their actual revenue goals, and being intentional about that and like not letting yourself waver from that and know why you did it, right? So if your goal is 5 million, love to see you set around, let's say $300,000, and let's distribute it across those different tactics: lead gen, branding, and customer retention. And then that leads me to step number 2, or what I would say is tip number 2, which is a balanced approach to the different styles of marketing. So, we have a lot of lead generation things, Google LSA, right? PPC, direct mail, Facebook ads, right? So of your full budget, I normally make this recommendation that, 30 to 40% needs to be branding. So your truck wraps, your radio TV, your sponsors, getting a mascot, doing some cool things like that, or, just updating your graphics. I would say 30% of that, of your total budget, should be allocated to things that are just making you memorable, right? Making you sticky in your community's face, right? Everywhere they go, they can't help but see you somewhere, somehow. And then you take the other side of that. So it's probably going to be about 40% is that lead gen number. So if you look at your marketing budget and literally 85 to 90% of it is all in lead gen, it's all with your website company, that is where I really think that you are going to start seeing when demand goes down and people stop searching, you are sucking wind.
Mhm.
Whereas if you will balance it more, right? 40% lead gen, 30% branding, then you have that branding that's continuing to work and grow. And then the other 20% is around customer retention. So, hey, ding, 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 right? We've got a treasure trove of people in our database that we could be marketing to when things get slow. So 20% of our budget needs to go towards retention and the software and partner stack that it takes to get us there. But think email newsletters, membership club promos, referral type awards, anything that's working our existing customers that we've already bought their lead, right? We already paid for it once. Don't make us pay for it again very much.
Well,
So
they're already buying from you too at that point. They know who you are and they trust you, hopefully.
and listen, once we have them, you need to act like a spider web. Once you have them, we don't want them to let go. We need them to hang on. And then I always carve out, Ruth, this little 10% that is allows us to try some new things. Maybe you saw something shiny that was out there and we want to give it a try. Maybe there's a local influencer in your area that is a really cool, weatherman or something, or you have some cool community events that you want to really plug into authentically in guerrilla style marketing. You have that 10%, but that mix ensures that your ads are working harder because they're backed by a strong brand, right? So if you're just out there running lead gen, so you're on the PPC and SEO train, alphabet soup, I call it, and you can't figure out why, especially in this year, you haven't grown. Well, number one, your brand is probably weak, and that's all you're doing is lead gen. And when that goes down, it's out. I mean, when demand goes down, you don't you've put all of your eggs in one basket, and we got to get you out of that. We need to spread the love.
Yep. I mean, I don't believe in putting all eggs in one basket for never mind marketing, but customers, whatever.
Well, yeah, and I have some clients that they will abuse the heck out of their existing customers. I'm like, hey, do not email them again. We've sent 6 text messages, 6 emails, ring voicemail drops. Again, this is all about balance. And some things are a marathon strategy, some things are a sprint. I think if you, as the contractor, can set your brain on the intent behind every single dollar that you're spending on marketing, what is your intent? What is your expectation? You will feel much better every day. Then the last little tip I'll give them is your busy and slow seasons matter, right? Budget heavily on your preseason pushes, but then you have to have good thoughts around spring and fall or summer and winter or whatever your seasonality looks like, right? So in Texas, it's summer and like halfway in, we get a little piece of fall, right? We really don't have 4 seasons, it's hot and less hot, right? But still, we will hit, we're going to hit the wall that is known as November. And we do not really pick back up again until March if we're lucky. Because for the most part in East Texas, we're very tepid during that time. But some of you are blessed and have really good seasonality. So you need to think about that when you're doing your rhythm, cost per lead and book job rate and lifetime value of customers. Because the way you shift your funds mid-year is that's how you make a more educated shift mid-year instead of looking up in 2027 and be like, I should have changed that in August, right? You need to be looking at these things a lot more. Your seasonality. You are in the business, right? Like, when things are going to slow down. So I just encourage you to keep that in mind when you're building those budgets.
Sounds good. All right. Final thoughts about 2026 marketing.
Don't be afraid of AI. You don't have to dive all in, but you need to start looking, just making sure that you at least know what's out there. So don't be afraid of it. Just kind of start embracing it. Also, get out in your community and start doing some social media so that people know who you are and they will naturally do business with people that they like, know, and love. And then my last little bit is I encourage you to be risky in 2026 of kind of going all in on branding and marketing and giving it a solid 6 months to see if you don't see some turn. But I wish you all the best of luck. It's a rough world out there, and marketing is a game of chess that we never get to get up from. But embrace the fun and embrace building a brand and making a great career for all the people that work for you.
Terrific. And it's www.lemonseedmarketing.com, right? Or hello at
Right. Hello at lemonseedmarketing.com is our email, or lemonseedmarketing.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ruth.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money, too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.